Welcome to Motorsport Coaching, the podcast for racers with racers. Miss Motivate can help get you to the next level. Every episode, she talks to the best racers of today and those that can get you there. She'll help you get better
Racing News
at fitness, nutrition, sports psychology, sponsorship, social media, public relations, and media training. Connect with Miss Motivate at motivatetraining.com.au. That's MOTIV8 training.com.au. And now, to help get you to the next level, Miss Motivate herself, Belinda Risley.
So welcome to the show, Hermes. So you're a sports dietitian, recently come on board with Motivate. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your credentials and how did you get started into being a sports dietitian?
So as you said, I'm a sports dietitian and a strength conditioning coach. So I have both a master's in nutrition and dietetics and a bachelor in sports science with and a level 2 in strength conditioning. So basically, growing up, I'm from Italy, so I came over from a young age, and I wasn't into sport to begin with. But as I grew, as I got older, and obviously I fell in love with the game of football, I managed to get myself into sport a whole lot more. Obviously, and this is pretty common with strength conditioning coaches, I was quite an average athlete, which made me get more and more into that side of how can I improve myself? How can I improve my performance? And that got me into the nutrition, the strengthening. I was more concerned with how I could improve myself at a training session rather than actually, being that athlete. So I really got, stuck into that area. And then that sort of progressed. So I went straight into a double degree in sports science and dietetics. And, I always knew I wanted to do sports dietetics. So I got straight into that as soon as I graduated. And, luckily enough, I've been able to get some good experience behind my back. And now I'm at Compete and loving it.
Yeah, fantastic. And so tell us a little bit about Compete.
Yeah, so Compete at the moment, so what we're doing is we're trying to challenge the way that dietetics is servicing. So as you know, when you go and see a dietitian at the moment, you tend to go for a consult. It could be an hour and a half. And then you basically take away whatever the dietitian has given you for that period, and you try and go and apply it at home. What we're trying to do is really upset that, or not necessarily upset it, just change it a little bit so that we can get better outcomes for our athletes. So what we're looking to do is transfer that into a membership-based service where we can have continuous contact with our athletes. So athletes can ask questions. They can talk to us about any barriers they might be having. From my point of view, the reason that I really was drawn to Compete was the fact that they were really innovating the way that that our profession is being run, and in the future, that's what it should be. And that's what we're looking to do. So, basically we're allowing the athlete to be a little bit more autonomous, in a way. So we educate, we try to empower the athlete to make those choices. They always have our support there if they need it. But what we're doing is, trying to make sure that the athlete then progresses into I guess, a little bit more independence when it comes to their food choices. So that's what we're trying to do at Compete. And we're always trying to push the envelope there and trying to get better and improving our service as much as possible. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so Compete is 100% online. So
Yes,
any athlete can access the service. Is it for just the elite athlete or who's it targeted towards?
Absolutely not. No. So it's not just for the elite athlete. We have a saying, I guess, inside Compete that basically if you are training, you are an athlete. If you have a body, you are an athlete. You need to look after it. So it is accessible for everyone. Everyone can jump on. It's basically for anyone who's trying to improve their performance and trying to get better in what they're doing through nutrition. If you feel that you're struggling in that department, then it's definitely for you to have a look at. So we're not exclusive to professional athletes, and we never will be, because we really think that the better outcomes come from, developing athletes or the amateur athletes as well. So we're always trying to help them, preferably as much as possible. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what kind of services does Comp Eat offer online?
Yep.
Membership base.
It is membership. Yep.
So what kind of things are entailed within those memberships?
Yeah. So we have basically, if you have a look on our website as well, there is a little bit of a structure where, and without spending too much time on the actual packages, but we basically, it's like a graduating system. So you start from either the top and you can progress down as you get more and more independent, or you can start and get a feel for the bottom, which is what we call our knowledge hub, and just getting that knowledge. And then if you feel like you need more and more information, you can progress up to our specific. So you'll see we'll have on our website, we've got a specific package. So that is basically we structure your meal plan around your training. So that's very, very specific to the individual. So we will take you through exactly what you should be eating. We address any barriers, any issues. We'll make sure that you, if there's, for example, if there's days where you can't eat or you need to eat out, or you struggle to prepare things at home, we'll make sure that we address that to make sure you get the best nutrition. So that's very, very specific. And that's usually people, athletes would stay on that for, about a month or 2 months in the lead up potentially for a race or something that's quite important. So if they're reaching for a goal and they're trying to lose weight, for example, that's when they would go into the specific. After that, they would, I guess, progress down to the flexible, and that's where we reintroduce that autonomy for the athletes. So they're able to make a couple of choices along the day. And that's just, we feel that's just allows that education to come in. So we actually see if the athlete has been able to apply that knowledge. And then again, if they are able or feel that, they're quite good with that, with the flexible program, they can then progress down to the knowledge hub, which contains a whole heap of videos and resources, recipes that they can then use as they please. We've also got event packages, which, for example, for your guys, if they're leading up to a big race, and they need to prepare, we have specific preparation just for that event. So that's how we structure our services around the sporting arena.
And how important is nutrition to sports performance?
Well, personally, I'm probably biased, but I think it's massive. Nutrition is just, it's one of those things. It's probably your big ticket item in terms of performance. But as you get higher and higher in level, it becomes a 1 or 2% that really can dictate whether you win or lose. So it's about, getting it right can really make a massive difference, or it can ruin, I guess, your chances or the progress you've made. So it's because of the fact that we do it every day, and just like training as well, we're doing it every day. So the benefit adds up along. So as you continually, as you follow a strict diet, or not necessarily strict, but as you follow a good diet, you will gain those benefits over time, which is why it makes it a big, big issue, a big priority in sport.
And so for our competitors, specifically, say over the course of the weekend in karting, we can use that. Generally, they would have 3 heats during the day, short spurts. What kind of food items do you recommend them to snack on or to consume for performance?
So they would have 3 races in the single day. Yep. So obviously the idea there would be to prioritize. So the days leading up to the race wouldn't be necessarily too much of a priority, as long as you're staying quite consistent with eating those whole grains. And we're always talking about, again, it is quite boring, but we always say moderation is key. What that means is that we need to select the right foods and at the right times, and not necessarily be overly strict with what we're selecting. So for example, in the lead up to that race, we want to make sure that we're getting, your fruits and veggies, whole grains. So that's very important. It's during the race, or during that day rather, in between races, that we can really make a difference. So would the races be particularly long? Sorry, I'm not too familiar with the...
It just depends sometimes. I'd say on average like 10 minutes, maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So because they aren't particularly long, then we're not looking at necessarily refueling too much. So for example, for your longer races, if you were to do 2 or 3, or if for the pro guys, for example, when they're doing longer races, then definitely the fueling comes into it, because you want to make sure that you're properly fueled for that race. But if they're shorter bursts and shorter intensity, what you want to do is prioritize the fact that you want to make sure that you're getting, obviously you want to make sure that you're comfortable with the food you're eating. So it needs to be quite familiar. So you don't want to go with anything that's going to throw you off. So, or leave you with gut issues, for example, because then you want to make sure that, especially if you are feeling nervous or you do have any anxiety around the races, for example, you want to make sure that you're completely focused on what you need to do in the race. So that would be my number one priority, and that would be just around discussing that with the athlete and identifying what works for them. In terms of hydration as well, you want to make sure that you're ticking that box. Especially if you're doing those repeat races, and if you are out throughout the day, that's obviously going to contribute to how well you respond, your reflexes, your alertness. So that's particularly important. So we would address that as well throughout the day. And then there's different areas that come in as well. So for example, if they're a little bit older, then we can start considering your caffeine supplements. Or do we address the alertness side of things with the use of various supplements, which isn't always the case, and we don't always tend to prescribe that, but it could help, particularly in motorsports.
Mm-hmm. And what about recovery?
Yep.
Specific foods that you recommend for recovery days, so whether it's directly after the event or the next day?
Yep. So if the athlete is feeling particularly fatigued, and if they've had a long race, then what we tend to prioritize in those recovery days would be your carbohydrates. So in nutrition, we have 3 main macronutrients, which are your carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So that's basically what food is made of, and those provide us with our energy. What we tend to prioritize would then be those carbohydrates, just to make sure that the athletes are able to recover appropriately. Now, we don't want to go overboard on that either, because as you know, you want to stay as light as possible when you're a motorsport athlete in particular. Yeah. So if you want to try and balance that around any other training you would be doing or your recovery requirements. So the priority would be your carbohydrates in terms of recovery, and also some protein with that. Okay. So protein would just be for that muscle repair, and obviously particularly important for that recovery phase. So we would prioritize those 2 foods, and your protein would obviously come from your meats, dairy, eggs, right? So those foods are really, really important. We don't want to prescribe necessarily, especially for young athletes, any sort of supplements. So your whey proteins, they do have a place in sport, but not necessarily for any young athletes. So definitely trying to get those whole foods would be ideal.
And so basically what you're saying is that Comp 8 can personalise any program up for any event. So you have that package, which is called the actual event package.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much doing the leading up to the event, during the race weekend, and the recovery day, and then access to the Knowledge Hub.
Absolutely, yeah. So it will have access to the Knowledge Hub until for that time period. So when you sign up until the event, you will have access to the Knowledge Hub, so you can get more of an understanding. We're working on that now, so we're building up that database, and absolutely. So you will have the lead up into the 3 days, okay, and that obviously is going to be dependent on the event that you're in. So we always try to personalize it. We will personalize, because what we can do is make minute adjustments as we go. So the best thing about that is if you do know you're doing, for example, you're doing prep races, or you're doing races that are in the lead up to your big one, then you can start trialing a couple of the strategies that we give you, so that you can be confident when you do go into the big one. So so it'll contain those 3 preliminary days or prep days. Then you've got your big event day, which is obviously the key one, and then we will give you a little bit more information on how to recover from that.
Fantastic. And Is all the recipes family friendly?
Yeah. So Alicia, who founded Compete, she has done most of the recipes, and they are absolutely all family friendly. They're obviously all cooked at home. So she's got 2 kids, and she cooks them all the time when I'm up there as well. So absolutely all family friendly. We try to make sure that they're accessible for everyone. So if you've got a gluten intolerance, or if you're lactose, you need lactose free recipes. We try to make them as holistic as possible. Try to include more variations to make sure that you can make those recipes even if you have those restrictions. So yes, definitely family friendly. I love them personally. I've tried a couple, and I'm making a whole heap to add up as well. So definitely going to be building on those. Really enjoying that.
Yeah, and I see that a lot of them are sugar-free as well. So that's good. I tried bliss balls, I think, the other day she made. Looked really yummy.
Yeah.
And I had the Easter buns at Easter. I tried that recipe, so that was nice.
Yeah. That's the next one. I have to try that next year. I haven't gotten around to that one.
Fantastic. And so is there anything else you'd like to tell us about Compete? Is there anything exciting coming up into the future, or what's the website that people can go and have a look at around?
Well, obviously the most exciting thing is we're partnering up with Motivate. Yeah. So that'll be great. We are obviously going to be providing a discount for Motivate members. And obviously, Belinda, you would have more details on that. For more about us, have a look at competenutrition.com website. So you can log on there. We release a lot of resources on our social media about nutrition. It's all for free, so you can have a look at that. And we're always trying to identify what research is relevant and present that in a way that you can understand. So please do look at that. What we're looking to do in the future. So we're looking to really improve the platform the way it is now. So we're introducing new technology, and we're looking to try to improve the way we're servicing our clients. So definitely our athletes are looking to benefit from this. Ideally, we want to try and make sure that we're getting the best product out. So that's what we're looking to do, just innovating and improve what we're currently doing to make sure that it's suitable for them. So definitely, have a look at our social media. So our Instagram page is Compete, at Compete_nutrition. Facebook is at Compete Nutrition AUS for Australia, AUS. And our Twitter is at Compete Health. So check us out there. Plenty of resources. We always try to release those frequently. And if you have any ideas or anything you want to hear about, please let us know.
Fantastic. And all those social media accounts will be linked in the show notes. And of course, will be available on our website as well. So apart from Compete, can you recommend any other resources, paid or unpaid, for people who are wanting to learn more about sports, nutrition and performance?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, the big ones are your SDA, which is our governing body, our Sports Dietitians Australia governing body. So you can have a look on there, and they've got heaps of fact sheets on all things from supplements to individual sports. So you can get a lot of information on sports dietetics through there. That's a great website to visit pretty frequently. They've got they tend to release heaps of recipes as well. So really good one to look at. And the other one would be the AIS. So AIS website will have, again, some information on supplements and what will work, what won't work, ideas on nutrition around, again, specific sports. So they do have sections to have a look at there. So please visit those. They're really good to look at. I do have to mention, though, be mindful of what you see on social media, obviously, and YouTube. Some things are great. But you do end up getting or leaving quite confused at times with all the information that's out there. So what we're trying to do is just, make sure that we're pushing people towards the right resources.
Correct. And that's why we have teamed up with you guys. So
we're
the experts in this area. So it's a very exciting time. So in 2019, I guess for Motivate and Compete, what we'll be looking to do is to do some more motorsport specific resources. So we'll be hoping Hermes one day can actually go out to the track and actually talk to some drivers and actually see exactly what they're doing and what they are consuming and not consuming, and doing some works with the tracks as well around healthy canteen environments and the kind of food offerings at a track level.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Hermes, thank you very much for your time today. Before you go, I do need to ask, since the World Cup is on and Italy's not playing, who are you going for?
I'm going for the Socceroos.
Didn't we get robbed the other night?
Oh, we did. Yes, we did.
Oh,
I'm not sleeping much lately, but but I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it. Yeah.
fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Again, all those links for the will be in the show notes.
Get ready for the race.
Do you feel one step closer to being the next superstar behind the wheel? MotivateTraining.com.au for more. MOTIV, 8, training.com.au.
The green flag.
Every episode gets you one step closer to the checkered flag. The Motorsport Coaching Podcast, getting you to the checkered flag faster.